Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to dive into something really cool. We're not just talking about how to use the automation tool n8n, we're talking about how to truly master it. We're going to walk the path from total beginner to a pro builder, focusing on the key ideas you need to know so well you could turn around and teach them to someone else.
And this quote from the community, this right here, it just perfectly captures why people get so excited about n8n. It's that moment you realize you can unlock a whole new level of power. You're not just plugging two apps together anymore. You're building real, powerful, and robust solutions. All right, so our journey has to start with the why. We've got to understand the core idea behind n8n. What actually makes it so different? And more importantly, why is that difference a total game changer, especially when you're trying to teach someone the ropes of automation? And here it is. This is where things get really interesting. You see, a lot of other tools out there, they kind of penalize you for building complex things by charging for every single little step. But n8n is different. It charges per workflow run. That means a workflow with 2 steps costs the exact same to run as a workflow with 200 steps. So what does that really mean for you? Well, it means you're empowered. It encourages you to build these big, beautiful, multi-step automations that solve real problems. And you don't have to be afraid of getting a huge surprise bill at the end of the month. This is the first thing you have to teach. With n8n, you build what you actually need, not just what your plan allows. Okay, philosophy is great, but let's get our hands dirty, right? Every master was once a beginner, and that very first step on this path is building your very first simple workflow. So what even is a workflow? You know, at its heart, it's just a story. Seriously, think of each node as an action, a verb, and the lines connecting them create the sentence that tells the story of what your automation is doing. And this is the blueprint. It's the basic anatomy of every single workflow you will ever build. It's a simple, repeatable pattern. I don't care if your automation has 2 nodes or 200 nodes, it's always going to have this structure. Something that kicks it off, a few things that do the work, some logic to make decisions, and then you run it. Think of this as your level 1 checklist. These are the absolute must-haves, the kind of skills you'd pick up in n8n's own starter course. You've got to master these 5 things, because they are the foundation for everything else that's going to come. It's the first level you have to beat before you can move on. All right, level 1 complete. Now, the real fun begins. It's time to level up. We're moving beyond just connecting the dots to actually skillfully manipulating the data that flows between them. Okay, lean in for this one, because this idea, it's everything. This is probably the most critical concept for anyone learning or teaching n8n. You have to imagine your data is like a river, just flowing from one node to the next, getting changed a little bit at each stop. If you can see that flow in your moment, you can build and debug anything. And if your data is water, then expressions, well, they're your superpower for controlling it. They're how you can reach back upriver to a previous node, grab one specific piece of data, maybe change it a little, and then use it in the very next step. It's incredibly powerful. And mastering expressions is a journey, right? You don't have to get it all at once. You start simple, just grabbing some data from the node right before. Then you get a little bolder. You start referencing any node you want just by its name. And before you know it, you're writing tiny bits of JavaScript right inside your nodes to make decisions on the fly. Now, let's talk about the big scary monster for a lot of beginners, errors. We all get them, but a core skill and something you have to teach is that errors aren't your enemies. They're not something to be afraid of. They're just predictable events. And once you realize that, you stop trying to avoid them and start building pathways to handle them. Okay, this right here is the big leap. This is where we go from being a workflow builder to a workflow architect. We're moving from simple, straight-line automations to designing complex, interconnected systems that can handle all of the messiness of the real world. And to show you what I mean, let's look at this incredible example from the n8n community. Somebody actually built an automated meal planner that's so much more than a simple script. I mean, it's practically a logistics officer for their entire family. It's amazing. I mean, just look at this logic. This isn't a simple if this happens, then do that. This is orchestration. It's a whole system that's looking at calendars, suggesting different recipes on busy days, making sure you don't eat pasta 3 nights in a row. This is what becomes possible when you move past the basics. So, how do you build something that's smart without it breaking all the time? Well, you remember what we said about errors not being enemies? This is how you prove it. You build a dedicated path for them. If something fails, the workflow doesn't just crash and burn. No way. It reroutes that error down a special branch that can log the problem and maybe send you a message. This is how you build for the real world. And here's a pro-level secret. The experts, they don't build one gigantic, tangled, monolithic workflow. Instead, they build with Legos. They create small, focused service workflows for common tasks, like sending a notification or logging an error. And then they just call on those little services from their main workflows. It's cleaner, it's reusable, and it's so much easier to manage and teach. And that brings us to the final stage of our journey. This is where you become the master builder. And this isn't just about what you can build for yourself anymore. It's about reaching a level of true craftsmanship that you can share with your team and with the whole community. This checklist, right here, this is the standard of excellence. This is what separates the casual user from a true architect. It defines what a professional, production-ready, bulletproof workflow looks like. And when you can confidently look at this list and teach every single point on it, you've made it. Because, that's what true mastery is all about, isn't it? It's not about hoarding all this knowledge for yourself. It's about taking this powerful, sometimes complex tool and making it easy for other people to understand. It's about sharing what you've learned and helping the next person solve their problem. So there you have it. That's the path laid out for you. From your very first node all the way to architecting entire systems. From learning a new concept to teaching it with confidence. So the only question left is, what incredible, complex, game-changing system are you going to build, and who are you going to teach?